Conscious parenting is a term used by various psychologists to describe a style of parenting that usually focuses more on the parent and how mindfulness can drive parenting choices. Let's discuss this topic with our expert counselor, Ms. Surbhi Joshi Munjal. Welcome to the show. Tell us more about conscious parenting and what is conscious parenting, Surbhi?
Thank you so much for having me. So it is a much discussed topic. Some people have sort of tried to glamorize it also in front of parents. But what we have seen is that parents usually attach a lot of, burden and guilt with it. So they feel that we don't know, what all we'll have to do to be a conscious parent. Because of the word, they get scared. I've seen so many times, in workshops and all. But let me simplify it for you. Conscious parenting is nothing but, as I call it in my language, slow parenting. Basically, in every moment, instead of reacting, you just start responding to your child and whatever they are doing. And that's it. You are being a conscious parent now. So most of the time, what happens is parents as parents, and that is also at the heart and soul of conscious parenting. Also, most of the time, as parents, we act out of our own life experiences, our own insecurities, and our own fears, right? So, and when we act out of our own weaknesses, obviously, our reaction is never going to be something that is very pleasant, something that is very, very productive for our child. So, whenever we pause for a moment, we reflect on our actions or the responses that we're going to give to our child, and then execute our responses. We make informed responses and not reactions to the child. We call it conscious parenting.
So, what are the benefits of, implementing conscious parenting?
Yeah. So there are multiple benefits to it, and especially in the times that we are living right now. Uh, you know, uh, we are not dealing with the generation who will just blindly agree to whatever we say, or who would just believe whatever we tell them about the world and about our world. In 10 years or even 5 years uh, before this time, if a parent would say, our life was very difficult and we have made your life very easy, children would just, listen that, yeah, okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong. But these are not those children. These are because of, maybe you can say, technology, and because of the kind of revolution that we are having in education system. These children are more inquisitive. These children want to listen to your logics. These children want to be interacted with, not as, small children who can be told anything and, they'll just accept it because they respect you. So for them, respect does not plainly come out of age or status, that your father or your mother, so they'll simply respect you. No. So that is why in today's times, being conscious as a parent, being very conscious in your parenting practices is very, very necessary, because these children have a better consciousness and an intellect than us. When I say us, I mean when we were their age. When I was 4, I did not have the intellect that a 4-year-old today will have. All thanks to the information that is available to them, all thanks to the improvement in our teaching style, the way we design their curriculums, right? So we should be ready to deal with the advanced intellect of these children. So number one advantage is that this style of parenting, this particular method of parenting, even if you are not able to adapt to it 100%, even if you apply, say 30% of conscious parenting in your regular day-to-day life, you will start seeing the results. You will have a positive influence on the child. You will not have to say that, okay, I said no, that's why you don't do it. No. When you say something, they will feel, okay, if she has, or papa has said something, mama has said something, there has to be a story behind it, and he or she will be ready to share it with me. So you build a trust with your child, an intelligent child. And along with that, as a added bonus, you get a child who knows what they want in life, who knows how to be assertive, a child who knows that Whenever he or she will present his or her opinion, whenever he or she will make a mistake, people around will not, scare him, will not just punish him instantly. People will accept it because parents did. Parents talked about mistakes openly with the child and discussed it one by one, right? So basically, as parents, if we are conscious parents, we are democratic in our activities, we are talking about our own feelings, our own discomforts with what our children are doing. We are creating individuals who are confident, who know that if they speak their mind, nobody is going to kill them. That is what we want, right? All of us want kids who are confident, assertive, who say what is in their mind and say it in a confident way, right? None of us like those children who are not able to speak up in the school or in the society in general, who don't have any hobbies, who don't have any interests in life. But then again, when it comes to parenting, we want a child who's very obedient. So if a child is very obedient, he's just plainly obeying you, he will be plainly obeying other people also. Accept that fact, right? Then we want innovators. We can't expect innovators out of people, out of children whose thought process has been tamed by our strict parenting, right? So that is an added advantage that you get. You get a bright child. Yes, it is a little, or rather, I should say, it is a bit more of a hard work to be a conscious parent for a parent, but it definitely pays off in future. And last but not the least, the most important advantage that uh, I can bet on this particular advantage. You will definitely feel it once you start applying conscious parenting. Is that you as a person will grow a lot. You as a parent, you as a person will grow a lot. Not only you'll see your child growing and thriving, you will see and you will notice that you also start realizing, so much of your own childhood trauma you're holding on to that, right? So many times your own mother and father might have crushed your dreams, right? You might have told them, I want to be an air hostess. They might have told you, you're so short, you have to be really tall to be an air hostess. So many times that might have happened to you also. So while you sort of detangle your own trauma, you help out the child, your child, and you're helping out yourself also. And that brings that sets in motion a very positive cycle for you also. So you are happier because you are exploring your past trauma, you are being your own therapist at that moment. You are happier, so your child is happier because you are responding positively, you are being calmer, you are more composed in situations where your child makes a blunder. And in turn, when your child is happier because you are not being overly strict with them, you again start becoming more and more, happy with whatever is happening around you. So it's a very good positive cycle that starts. But it starts with a lot of hard work, a lot of self work that we have to do as parents when we are doing conscious parenting. Yeah.
So how does the kid perceive the whole thing? I mean, like from the parent's point of view, you've explained very beautifully the whole thing. Okay. But how's the kid perceiving the whole, the parenting style, especially in a
Hmm.
scenario when there are two contrasting parenting style? Say if one
Hmm.
parent is, kind of implementing this conscious parenting, while the other one is,
Hmm.
very typical, some other kind of parenting style, an authoritative style. Okay.
Hmm.
So, isn't there a clash? And how's the kid going to perceive? And which one is given more weightage in a situation like this? Or
Yeah.
does this
Yeah.
the whole thing lose its value if if there is a more vocal kind of parenting style than where you are more reflective and then pausing and then
Yeah.
reacting to the situation. So how's the kid
Yeah.
perceiving it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. In fact, I feel that many of those who are watching, they must be having this question in their mind. So, as I talked before also in our previous session, there are never absolutes when it comes to human psychology. So, when I say that a parent is conscious, applying conscious parenting, and rather, I will not say you could not, I will say you should not apply only one form of parenting. So, and especially if both of y'all are not on sync or not on the same page with regard to the kind of parenting that you want to do, it is always better to take up a mixed approach. Yes, you being assertive at times is necessary, but you being mindful of your actions at times is also very, very necessary. And yes, if both the parents, father is having a different approach and mother is having a different approach, I can say that with a lot of confidence that the parent who's going to apply, even if little bit of conscious parenting in their style, they are going to be the favorites. Then you simply have to decide that who wants to be the favorite parent. I think it will only be a race to become the best parent. So I've seen oftentimes, couples they're like that, he only listens to the mother, doesn't listen to me. So it's not because anything else. First, yes, of course, mothers spend more time with the children. Secondly, often we see, I won't say only the men, only the women, but yes, often we see that only there's one parent who just wants things in black and white for the child, right? So they'll say no, the child will ask why, and they'll say because I said so. They need to understand that that approach does not work. As I just said, it does not work anymore. So what will start to happen that in such a scenario, the child will slowly start to turn away from the parent who he perceives as being very authoritative, right? Who he feels is always giving orders and never listening to the feedback, right? So the child will start turning towards and being influenced. See, I said in the beginning only, conscious parenting is all about creating your uh, influence on the child, positive influence, not through what you say, but how you act in situations, right? So if a parent is presenting a positive image, a person who's always calm, a person who's always, talking sensibly according to the child, because they're giving the logic, right? So if I say, no, you can't go to your friend's house, and the child says, why? I say, because I feel that this might prove wrong for you in a long term. That's my feeling. And right now, I don't feel confident about sending you there. Yes, if there's a proof that it might be fruitful for you in future, I'll think about doing that. And you are responsible for giving me that evidence. So the child feels, okay, fine, I am involved in this decision instead of just bluntly saying no. So obviously, in future, the child feels that this person at least listens to me, so they'll go to that particular parent. So it is always useful if both the parents try to be on the same page when it comes to parenting. Yes, if one person believes in authoritative parenting or believes in saying, giving orders, yes, find a common ground that, okay, these are the areas where we can give orders. These are the areas where we won't, where we'll be more democratic and conscious.
Is it so that this kind of parenting works better on younger children? Okay, because older children, they would need a bit of strictness in certain situations as well. Okay, so
Yes.
yeah, maybe they need to be dealt, differently in different situations. So
Hmm.
this kind of style may not work. Okay, this approach may not work in all situations for, especially in older children. Yeah, so is that a drawback of conscious parenting, or can just tell me the drawbacks of conscious parenting if we have to implement the style?
Yeah, yeah. Not completely. With the older children, yes, with young children, it works well because you'll be starting with that only. The child will know that this is how we deal with stuff at our house. All right. But for older children, if you change your strategy and you change it drastically, it might bring a little bit of backlash for you. But in some cases, I have seen that it actually works wonders for older children also, because many times we've seen in counseling practice also that these children really don't have a problem with other stuff. They just do. They just know that they are not hurt in the family. They feel that their parents judge first and listen later. So I think that conscious parenting, if applied properly, if applied uh, in a very, very tactful manner, can be very, very useful with adolescents also, because they actually need a perfect balance of you being permissive and authoritative with them. So that balance you can strike only when you're being conscious of your own triggers, right? So apart from this, yes, there are few I won't say disadvantages, But I would just say that it might not seem suitable for few types of people, because apart from being parents, we are individuals also, and we all of us have different levels of patience, whether it comes to overall life decisions or with our children. So people who look for sure shot, quick express solutions to problems with children will not find it very fruitful, because it requires a lot of patience, and conscious parenting requires a lot of self discipline. So definitely, if you are not on that stage in your life, or at that state in your mind where you can imagine yourself changing for the sake of your child, then definitely you will not find this parenting style useful. And that is totally understandable. Sometimes a parent is going through so much stress in other areas of life that they don't find strength to be patient, to be conscious with the child. So that can be you know uh, a possible way, or a possible area where it does not work for a parent, because it requires a lot of patience. And yes, there's always a danger, there's always this chance that your child might try to dupe you, or try to, because they know your weaknesses. Your children are the smartest, right? They know that, okay, this is where my mother gets emotional, this is how she's going to be manipulated. So there's a chance that that might happen. But again, you need to understand that if your child is able to do that also, that's also a talent, right? He or she is able to understand the human emotion, and he or she is able to twist it according to his or needs. And of course, that will happen at a stage. Maybe they are in pre-adolescence or they are adolescents, they'll try to do that because they're testing their boundaries basically at that time. But again, I would say, bottom line, in a long run, it will prove very, very beneficial, even for that child who's trying to fool you with your own emotions, right?
I want you to explain with a real life example. Okay, let's take a
Yeah.
real life example that I walk into my home, okay, and I see my little child, maybe a 6-year-old, okay. He is holding a pair of scissors and he has chopped his hair, okay, all by
Yeah.
himself. A regular parent in me would react very, strongly, maybe will snatch the scissors first and then give a good whack, okay. And
Mm.
whereas a conscious parent would react, I'm assuming, very differently. So can you
Yeah.
just tell me, the stark contrast between the two parenting with this example?
Yeah. Yes. So first, I would explain how what will go on in the mind of a parent who would react the way you explained, right? So you see the child, immediate instinctual response, right? So it's like your hindbrain is on fire right now. Your child could be, he could have harmed, cut himself. There could have been blood all. So instant reaction is fear, dread, despair. What could have happened? Oh my God. And in that reaction, while your brain is thinking, oh my God, you reach for your child and you punish him, right? So from the point of view, from the point of view of your child, who's a very innocent fellow, does not know that scissors can, make you bleed, or that you were not supposed to use them in the absence of elders, he or she will be like, okay, what just happened with me? I thought I've done a very good job, and why am I being punished? So the child is like, what just happened to me? Like, I was enjoying myself, I was doing a harmless activity. What just happened, right? So these are the two views, right? So this is what goes on. Now, how a conscious parent would react. And again, I'm saying it one more time. Conscious parenting comes out of practice. It never comes out of a moment of self realization. No, it will come with practice. You'll have to practice it in all other fields of your life. So, a conscious parent who has actually practiced being conscious in parenting moments, how they would react is, you enter the room, you have a look that your child is into a mess, right? Scissors are still in the hand. So, uh, they can still harm themselves and they won't even know about it. So, the parent will realize that, okay, my child was trying to be extra innovative. So, first thing, obviously, a conscious parent will also have that reaction, fear, despair. So, what you do, you take a deep breath. You're like, okay, let me approach this situation in a more sensible way. Obviously, this won't be your thought process, but that's how I'm explaining it, right? So, you take a deep breath. So before taking a step forward, like, oh my God, what just happened? You take a step back at, okay, what just happened? So, and trust me, in those moments, like if even if you take 5 seconds to breathe in and breathe out, no, your mind will come back. Your that conscious mind will take over again. Trust me, try it out and you'll know. So, okay, what just happened? Maybe he was trying to be experimental. Let me approach him. So you go to the child. You ask, can you give me the scissor back? It is dangerous for you. The child is obviously like, okay, what just happened? Maybe I made a mistake. Because of your expressions, the child will automatically know. So see, conscious parenting gives a lot of credit to the child also, that he knows what's wrong and what's right, and he will know it by your expression only. You don't have to punish him for that. So you go, you reach for the child and you ask for the scissors. Please give it to me back. It is dangerous for you. So he might hand it back to you. So yes, situation is better now because you have taken the harmful object away from the child. He can't harm himself or herself anymore. Okay, one thing done. Second, what do you do about the mess, the haircut, and the whole action of doing it without your information? Now, this is your next priority. Immediate danger has been removed. That can only be done when you're being conscious of the whole process. So you remove the danger. Now you say, okay, so why, what made you think that you can use this and you can do this and it will be fine with me? The child says, no, it was there and lying there, and I saw some barber doing it or YouTube and I wanted to try it out. And okay, so then you ask, have you seen that on YouTube that this can be dangerous also for you? You could have hurt yourself. The child might say, no, I did not know. Please don't punish me. I'm sorry about it. Then you tell the child, no, you don't need to be sorry. You need to understand that this is dangerous. And if you do it in the absence of anyone who's elder to you might have harmed yourself. Who would you have asked for help then? The child might say, I don't know, maybe. So then you ask, what do you learn from this situation? Do you think you should repeat this in future? The child might say, yeah, no, and now I understand that I should not repeat this in future. And of course, as a parent, you keep the scissors out of the reach of the child in future, right? So a, a conscious parent delays the response, just like I said in the beginning. Simple theory. I will explain you 10 sentences. I'm explaining it to you in only one. Delay your response. That's it. Take time. So take a breath. So when we take a breath, we take a time. We put a full stop in the sentence. And after that, we think, what is the next sentence that is going to come out of me? So if you respond in a paranoid way, right? And you just sort of take away the scissors, take away the child, slap him or whatever. What have you done to your hair? You kind of traumatize your child forever, right? And then you expect that your child will be experimental, will have new ideas, will grow up to be adventurous like other children. No, won't be, because that that feeling of fear will get instilled. And obviously, if the child is small, only one such incident would happen. They do such things every day, almost every day. They take risks because as a parent you should understand that they are testing their boundaries, right? And yes, I did not mention it before. In such situations and in any situation in during your parenting, as a conscious parent, you always understand that you are an individual, they are an individual. You have made your mistakes, they are going to make theirs. And if they have done that experiment, that is good for them. It is a learning moment for them. Something bad could have happened, but it did not happen. Even if it did happen, what would you do? Can you hurt the child more because he hurt himself? Right? You can't. But you can make it a learning moment.
So I wanted to ask you, as in like my next question would have been, if I have to implement this conscious parenting style right now, from today onwards, what are the
Hmm.
short, kind of steps that I can take? But like you have already explained that delay my response. I'll delay my response in reacting to situations, to whatever my child is,
Hmm.
doing. But
Hmm.
are there any
Hmm.
other steps that I can implement, some concrete suggestions that I can actually start implementing right away?
Yeah. Yes, there definitely are. Yes. So first thing, whenever we talk about being conscious, whenever we talk about being mindful of your actions, first thing, the very soul of your consciousness is your breath, right? So you slow your breath, you slow your thought. Once you slow your thought, you have time to catch it. You have time to change it. If your thought is running around in your head, in your mind, you cannot edit it. You cannot, take out the bad parts. You just keep on running after your thoughts, right? So as a parent and as an individual, you always have to choose: your thoughts run you or you run your thoughts. So if you want to run your thoughts, first thing is you breathe, right? So generally also, and when it comes to difficult situations, practice more breathing. So you can do meditation, you can practice yoga, you can practice mindfulness meditation. And trust me, it does not take like 2 hours to meditate, or a place, or empty stomach, or music, or earphones. No, nothing. I say just take a glass of water, sit down on a table, chair, or bed, or wherever you want to sit down. Sit down, just switch off everything from your mind for some moment, and tell yourself, I'm just going to drink this water for next 15 minutes. I'm going to take as little, and then I'm going to sip it slowly, and I'm going to sit for 15 minutes, no matter what happens around me. Just sit for 15 minutes. Why you're sipping water, just think about that I'm sipping water. I'm not doing anything only in this entire universe. I'm nothing right now. I'm just a person sitting and drinking water. Whatever is happening in my life, whatever my child is doing, leave it all. Even when your child is making a mess in the house, is out of control, this and that, just leave him. Let him do his tantrum. Sit in one place, have half glass of water, take 5 to 7 minutes. You get to gather your thoughts. Once your thoughts are gathered, now you have the time and the required attention to look at them, right? You cannot just keep running and reflect on your thoughts. You cannot keep on doing everything outside and then doing the self work also. Second thing is you reflect on your thoughts, right? So, for example, something bad you have done already. Maybe you have beaten your child. Maybe you have yelled or shouted at him or her, and you realize that it was not good, it was not fair. So, you sit for a while, you look at yourself. Why did I get triggered? Why did that hurt me so much? Right? So, your child has passed a comment. So, a child is going to the preschool. The child has passed a comment on another child and said that you are poor. You have a smaller car than me. My father has a bigger car than you. You get offended. You beat your child. You complain to the other parent. You complain to the teacher. You have reacted a lot without thinking. So now you come back home. You reflect. Why did you get offended by that so much? Maybe you were bullied when you were small. Maybe you have this that particular incident that happened, and you were belittled by someone like that. Maybe it is against your personal philosophy that someone would comment on someone else's money or car, right? So you acted out of that, but you never introduced that philosophy to your child. You never introduced your child to that thought process. So when you reflect on your own trauma. And when you reflect on your own trauma, you're able to make better conversations with the child. So suppose you're forcing your child to join a hobby class and he or she is not performing. So you tell your child that, listen, you know what happened? When I was small, I wanted to do all this and I did not have the resources. So now I feel that if I have the time, the money, the everything, I want to give you everything. And when you don't receive it, I feel that you're ungrateful, right? And I know that's completely my problem, but please deal with it for some time. At least try for my sake. So when you communicate with the child, when you connect from an emotional side, your child will, there's more probability that they'll listen to you, right? Next, once you are done reflecting, you're done relaxing. Obviously, as I said, you have to be assertive at some points. You have to set boundaries. So if you have some trauma, if you have some things that really hurt you have to assert to your child that, see, on these topics, you don't argue with me. These are something that are really in my core value system. If you argue with me on that, you're not going to end in a good place, because I am going to get messed up and then you are going to get messed up, right? So what you do is your own problematic thoughts, your own problematic experiences, you connect your child with that. And your child is not stupid. Your child will understand that, okay, this is something that my mother does not like. This is something that hurts my father. So I'm not supposed to do this. This is the end of the boundary that has been set. And if I do it, I will hurt my loved one. Not because they will hurt me, but I will hurt them because she's already told this to me. And I can't cheat her. I can't just do this to her because she has expressed herself with me. So it gives you that weightage in your child's head, in your child's emotional life. You are now playing a major role. They care about your feelings. And that's what all parents want nowadays, right? And they're not getting it. Last part, and of course, it's a process. One step will lead to another, is accepting. Just like I said, you accept it first, know that I have some problem. Then only you can admit it to your child, right? Most of the time we see parents, they deny their own bad habits. And they say, no, improve my child. You can't do that. You can't just tell the child to improve. You have to improve. That's why I said conscious parenting can be difficult for people who don't want to get out of their own comfort zones, right? No offense to anyone. Sometimes they are not ready to get out of their comfort zones. They might be, but they're not right now. So you will have to accept your flaws in front of your child, in front of yourself, and then in front of your child. And yes, same way you have to do with the child. You will have to accept that there are certain things that your child cannot do properly, or cannot do, can absolutely not get involved in those things. And that will only happen when you become conscious. If you're not conscious of your own thoughts, you just get angry, sad, depressed. You're not giving that space to your child to just be a flawed person, just like you are. And trust me, one thing, always remember, which everyone should always remember, I believe, is that when you stop judging others, you stop judging yourself. So if you stop judging your child for the way he or she is, you'll stop judging yourself, and it will ease both of you. It will put you at ease, and it will make your lives very, very easy. So always remember to take a step back before you take a step forward, to breathe, reflect on whatever you're going to say, whatever your plan of action is going to be. Set up certain emotional boundaries with your children. This is what we can talk about. This is what we can talk about, but only with due permission and appointment, because I need time to talk about such topics. And yes, accept your child's flaws, accept your flaws, accept that they are going to make mistakes. Never be rigid.
Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion on conscious parenting. Very informative, and we all got to learn something new. Thank you, Surbhi. See you all again next week.